Welcome back to another episode of the Pinderverse podcast mini episode.
Minisode?
Minneapolis.
Minneapolis. We are in Minneapolis today, live from Minneapolis.
That's right. And we have some crazy news.
What is it, man? Tell me.
Mary Mouser, Tanner Buchanan, engaged.
No way. Real life.
Crazy.
Real life, huh?
Sam,
Ain't that a little quinky dink, huh?
Sam and Robbie, the star-crossed lovers,
Yep.
they're real-life counterparts.
They're real life in love now.
It's getting real.
Yeah, we're at the midnight hour, the love hour podcast.
That's what this episode is turning into. And you know what? Let's just go with it because it's like a Cobra Kai episode where they have all the 80s music come in. And it's just, they just go all the way there. It's like, full on 80s. And they are unabashed about it. They're ready to just.
Full on cheddar cheese ball. Like, let's go right all the way.
And that's what it is. They're not holding back. And that's what we've got to get into because sometimes life will just go all the way there. The people who played that couple in real life then become a couple in real life.
Ain't that funny? Ain't that funny? Didn't you say there's something about them like saying they tried to do that on purpose or something?
The show creator was joking and saying, we wanted to make sure that Daniel LaRusso's daughter and Johnny Lawrence's son fell in love in real life. Mission accomplished.
Boom. There it is.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. And isn't that interesting how that happens? You play, even though it was a show, it's for a play, it's for it's an act, you know, but then all of a sudden, a few years later, here it is happening in real life. And it ties into just us, like anything you try to learn, you practice it. And what were they doing? They were, in a way, maybe without knowing it, practicing being in a relationship in real life. And now here we are.
Well, I think you can make that parallel. To be fair, I want to make sure to highlight that they are different people. They're not the characters they play, just because I think it does them a service to say that.
Yeah.
But by them taking on those roles, they were actually able to have all these experiences together, have 6 seasons together, and that somehow doing that could spark something in them that's unique to them, and that it could actually, life could imitate art, that their lives could echo the art.
Right.
Like there's something kind of poignant in that.
That's kind of maybe one way you could look at it too, where maybe them playing a character in the show and then pretending, quote unquote, to be in a relationship, it allowed them to explore that possibility without the pressure of it being real, quote unquote.
That's interesting.
You know?
That's interesting because a lot of times we will hold back from actually doing something or trying something because it seems like we're worried about the repercussions.
Right. But this was like a literal, they were playing a character in a way, subconsciously it probably told them like, hey, it's not even really me. This is just, you know, some character it's not real. But it gave them the opportunity to test out the idea of being in a romantic relationship literally without any sort of attachment to it or any sort of like external judgment or even internal judgment. It was just like, hey, it's just for the show, you know?
Yeah, and it makes me think that everything is story, that our lives are stories. The show is a story. So the story of the show, those kind of stories are reflections of the kinds of stories that happen in our own lives. Anything that we write about first came from inside of us. So the story itself, it's like coming back. It's like a mirror that we look into, and it shows us a pattern. It shows us possibilities. But yet by seeing that possibility, that can open a doorway. Like you're saying, actually getting a chance to, and if you can vibrate at a certain frequency, then you're going to see the world differently than if you're just kind of, well, that won't happen for me, and things are going there. I'm falling down a hill. That's what you're going to start to experience. Whatever your habit is, however you see the world, whatever frequency, all those things connect.
Yep, exactly. What whatever a man thinketh, then so is he.
Yeah, and so if they are creating art where they have to dig deep into their emotions and think about their lives and all these kinds of things, and how would I really feel if this was really happening, and they're creating these moments together, well, they're going to be vibrating at maybe at an art level of creating art, which is different than just, I got to go pay my bills and I got to do this and I got to, right? So it's the art that opens the doors, and it's not just for them, but when we watch, say, Cobra Kai, there's something in the story we can resonate with, say, Johnny Lawrence's character, and learn something from their story, and that story can become helpful for our own story. So that's opening up a door in our own lives. I think it's interesting to think that those characters, as the people played the characters, it opened up a door in their lives. When we watch the stories, it opens up a door. We can try it on, like, oh, this is what would happen if I did this. If I did those things Johnny did and I went down that path. Oh, I've done things like that before. Oh, this is what would happen. And so then we act it out vicariously. We imagine it and we go, okay, and we learn something and maybe decide not to do that. So we're creating those doorways. We are creating them through taking in the stories. It's not just the story that's creating it, it's us taking it in. And as humans, we're the actual creators of the story. So it becomes just like,
exactly,
it kind of gets a little deep where you guys might be listening to me going like, hold on a second, we're going a little further down the rabbit hole. But today is one of those days. It's Valentine's Day. And it just so happens we're talking about the star-crossed lovers of Sam and Robbie and Mary Mouser and Tanner Buchanan. And then we're talking about Johnny Lawrence in episode 12. Spoiler alert, Johnny Lawrence is proposing. If you haven't watched this, you need to make sure you watch it. I don't want to spoil it for you, but now Johnny Lawrence is proposing to Carmen. What's going on here? We're going down the rabbit hole. Suddenly, Johnny's proposing. Johnny Lawrence getting married, and now Tanner Buchanan and Mary Mouser, who actually played a couple, now are becoming a couple. What's going on here?
Right. It's very weird, but leave it to, like we said, diving all into the 80s, real. They're having a wedding in the middle of a hospital with the violin quartet coming in all of a sudden. Like, this just goes to show that, life just happens.
Yeah.
You can only plan so much.
We are all living the story, and if we can embrace it and grab that moment, and no matter where it is. So what happens with Johnny, let's backtrack a little bit. And what ends up happening in episode 12, Rattled, is he thinks about proposing, but he wants it to be the coolest 80s proposal that anyone, it's all got to be cool, AC/DC style. So he goes and starts stealing the roses from his neighbor, and he's basically clipping them from his neighbor's bush.
Right. He's just going all full Johnny Lawrence style. He's ripping the the flowers out the bush. He's going and butchering some cooking, whatever. I don't even know what he's cooking anymore. I can't remember.
He's tasting other people's batter, and he's going, it's not batter, it's sauce, I think.
He's about to beat up the suit tailor for measuring him in the wrong place.
Yeah, and so it's kind of like the best laid plans. He's trying to plan it. Every single thing is... John Lennon has this quote, life's what happens when you're busy making other plans. Yep. And he's making all the plans. He's going, okay, I need to find the correct suit. Hold on, let me hire that violin quartet. I think it might be a quartet. I don't know how many pieces in the ensemble. But he gets candles. Everybody's there. And then it turns out the door opens. They're playing the song. And it turns out it's Carmen's mother, not Carmen, walking through the door. And he's about to propose to Carmen's mom.
Well, I guess this works too. No, but it's one of those things like we were talking about. You can't, in a way, planning things is a facet of the human mind. Yeah, you could say, all right, tomorrow we're going to do this, and then we're probably going to do this afterwards, and then this, where it's really all it is a way to keep you from just doing completely random things at random times where you're just kind of like caught in the wind, like, oh, I'm going to go here. Oh, whoa, all of a sudden, I'm here and it's 2:00 in the morning and I'm on the freeway naked. What?
Okay. So are you recounting events of
my own life? Oh no, of course not.
That's not the next episode of Cobra Kai. I sure hope.
I hope not. You know what? If it is, I'll tune in for sure.
Yeah, but what's so cool about what you said is that you can't plan all those steps of love. You can't plan all those kinds of things.
Right.
We want it to work out a certain way, but like say with Tanner Buchanan and Mary Mouser, the actual pattern that was happening with Robbie and Sam
Yep.
of, that pattern, it's like you see that pattern in them in real life. That pattern is happening again. So even though you can't plan it, there's a synchronicity that we want it all to come together, but if we try to force it all together, it's not going to happen. But if you just let things happen, sometimes the pattern, it's like it's the universe is making a joke. It's saying, hey, you're going to play these characters, and by the way, that we're having you play those characters so that maybe you recognize that you guys are right. And we like to think about things like that maybe somebody's foreordained, or that there's destiny, or that there's all these kinds of things, right?
Yeah.
Love is foreordained. But I think all those ideas come from, for me, you can kind of tie that back to the pattern is there. We can try to make those things happen, but it doesn't come together. But then suddenly when you're not planning it and he's at the hospital and all these things are going on, the quartet, all of a sudden it happens to be the cooler wedding proposal and wedding than anybody could ever plan.
Yep.
Because he's literally, Johnny Lawrence wants to have the coolest 80s proposal. Now he has like a sort of punk rock wedding right in the not the emergency room, but he's having a punk rock wedding.
Exactly.
So it's like this kind of thing that if we just embrace the events of life, embrace our stories, those stories can actually, those patterns can come to life. And then it's almost like the universe is going, hey, we were trying to give you a signal. We were trying to show you that here you're playing these two characters. Now it's going to happen.
Right.
Oh, something else. Sometimes it's hitting you. It's kind of knocking at you saying, okay, hey, pay attention to this, right?
Yeah.
And it's hard to know, okay, well, are we just imagining that? Is there really is there really some kind of deeper connection between those things, or is it random? Well, we don't always know the answers. We try to figure it out, but when it seems like it's more than just a coincidence, that's what you call a synchronicity. Synchronicity is coincidence with a purpose.
I like that a lot. Synchronicity is coincidence with a purpose.
Because you go, oh, well, it's just like a coincidence, but yet it has a purpose.
Right.
Then you know, okay, it's not just a coincidence. Because sometimes if it's a coincidence, there's no purpose.
Honestly, I think coincidence could be just fiction in itself. I tend to believe that there's no real coincidences in a way. And the fact that going back to them acting out being in a relationship in the show and then ending up in a relationship in real life, it's kind of that proved to them that, oh, this is possible without any sort of, it was literally just like a role play of what could happen in real life.
Well, and we do play the roles before we actually embody them, don't we? We try them out before we actually become that.
Everything we are playing a role.
Yeah.
Everything, like we've talked about, everything is made up. We're talking about it's a Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is made up. The days of the weeks are made up. Time is made up. Everything's made up, except for very few things in this world, in a sense. So them doing that, acting that out, gave them the belief that they could actually, oh, wait, we could be in a relationship in real life if we wanted to. And then them planning that idea, if they didn't act that out in the show, that probably maybe would have never became an inkling in their mind. But now that they believe it's possible, that's what matters, the belief. And more importantly, the knowing that, oh, this can happen. I don't even have to believe it's, like we talked about, I don't have to believe it's going to happen because I know it can happen.
Yeah.
And it will if I wanted to.
Yeah, we get to test the waters.
Exactly.
We don't have to fully know the answers. And Johnny Lawrence, he's just going with the tide. He's just going with the wave. Okay, this is happening. She's actually going into labor. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and propose.
Right.
So it's kind of like this thing that you're always testing it out. You're always just going with we pretend that we are controlling it, but really but it's not that it's out of control either. It's just that we want to think that it's in this it's in our jurisdiction, as if we are the one who is just instigating all the different things. And I think that's, in a way, you can look at the different dojos. You can look at John Kreese and characters like that. It's like they want to control everything. They want to win the tournament, and they want to kind of like game it so that everything works in their favor, and they're maniacally, join me. And so it seems so like, oh, maybe they're so strong, and maybe but it's like those villains, a lot of times they're so full of themselves, but they end up not being able to. It's kind of like in the end, that control is futile.
Exactly, because control is an illusion in itself. You can think that you're in control of your current situation, but there's only so many facets of life that we can see in our existence. Like, for example, right now we have these microphones in front of us, and we're in this room, and I can see out the window, but I can't see down the street. I can't see across the entire universe, the world, the universe, the whole solar system. The idea of control is another illusion of the mind, just to make us feel like, okay, we're not crazy, or we're not totally subject to whatever the universe is going to throw my way right now. I know what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this. It's like, but in reality, we have no idea what's going to happen. And once you realize that, it is freeing for sure. Because then you don't feel like you're required to control everything in your life. And if you mess up, then it's all down the drain in a way. You can just say, you know what? Life happens. Here we are.
Yeah, the story itself is grander than a chain of events.
Right.
It's not just a cause and effect chain. There's more to it. And that synchronicity gives us a way to look at, okay, things are happening in sync. There's this connection. And what is it about those things? How do they happen? Well, that's kind of the magic around us in a way. I think that's important when we look at these things and we go, wait, how did this happen where these two people played these characters? And then now that's kind of seems to come to life, magic, that all those patterns are there and we're living them out. And if we try to control them, that's where we lose the magic. I like to use the word magic because even though it can be a little bit general, magic, it can mean a lot of things. It's also important to kind of think, okay, that's the stuff that we can't necessarily put into words. It goes beyond our words. So it's kind of like, well, wait, how would that? But when we think about the universe, we know it's expanding. We know it's just so immense. Well, no wonder there's mystery and magic and all these things. No wonder we can't control all the things. There's something so much bigger than we understand, and those patterns are occurring within us, around us. We're connected to it. It's all happening. It's all synchronous, and then we're pretending it's not synchronous. We're like, oh, it's all it couldn't be in sync. It's coincidence only.
Right.
Like we're just rolling the die, cause and effect. I do this, and I have to control it, right? So that villainous person can be, we all, as human beings, we're all kind of like that. We all have moments where we like want to, kind of grab it, and I'm the one who's got to push this up the hill.
Right.
We're all kind of like John Kreese sometimes.
It's all up to me. Yeah. It's like, I'm the only one. I'm the one. I am God. I am this. I am whatever.
Johnny Lawrence was like that for a long time of like, I'm going to push this up the hill. It's my way.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this. But now he's changed. It's taken a while, but he's embracing, he's telling Carmen, you made me a better man.
Right. And it's one of those things you never know. He probably never thought like that relationship would occur. Like we said, you can only plan so much in your life. And all of a sudden we get through the entire show, and all of a sudden he's like, wow, you made me who I've been looking to become this whole time. And that's the thing. He unbecame what he was and then became something new. And that's the secret to doing whatever you want in life, is unbecoming. Once you unbecome everything you think you are or believe you are, is then when you can become whatever you want.
Just like trying on the character for a while allows you to see if it fits.
Exactly.
And allows you to see what you need to unbecome, because I like this better this
Yeah.
character fits me. So now Johnny's going, you know, I used to be this other way, but now I'm this way. And you know
Exactly.
what? I'm okay with that. And I've got Miguel and Robbie, and it's like, and now instead of pushing the ball up the hill, they're pushing it up together.
Right. And it's one of those things where you can choose. You can choose whatever you want, because everything we think we are is our, like we talked about, it's made up. Like the way I'm talking right now, it's made up. The things I'm choosing to say, the clothes I'm wearing, the way I'm thinking at this moment, it's everything, every bit of it is made up. And it's just conditioned patterns that I've decided to allow myself to fall into. Because I think, oh, well, I'm maybe not consciously, but subconsciously, I fall into these patterns because they felt right. And over time, I just kept doing them. And now it becomes normal, my normal.
Yeah, and you're writing each page of your life, making it up as you go.
Exactly.
Johnny Lawrence is starting a new chapter, and then Mary and Tanner are starting a new chapter too as
Right.
Cobra Kai ends. But it's not over yet,
Not quite.
because we've got the last 5 episodes. We're going to be breaking down each one. We gave you guys a little glimpse of episode 12, but we're still going to be in this till the end, because I think it's going to be a great ride to finish out.
Well, man, I'm going to go throw some popcorn in. You ready to finish it out?
Ready to finish it out.
Let's do it.
All right.